Hennis ate his whole family before the stream even started. Can't believe it. I expected it to be happening a little later in the stream, but hey, you know, man's gotta eat. What the fuck is this?
PME.
I'll watch it later. Can you give me a parsec? Hey yo. Alright. Greetings everyone to the top 100 video games list making stream. We're so close to the end, aren't we? 47 shits left. And as you can see a little bit of Hatsune Miku there if I do this.
Oh, it was Miku. I was thinking it was Toho. No, that's Toho. Fuck off.
Hey, right, fuck.
That is Toho.
That is Toho. Fuck me. They both have blue hair. Yeah, blue hair is Miku. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, I can. No, that's not a good enough reason.
No. Shut up.
You remember, a character is not just her hair; it's literally her entire outfit. Why else would they only wear one outfit for the entire season?
Oh, you know, it's funny you say that because most Japanese character design is based off the silhouette. So the silhouette is the most important thing, which is why indeed the outfit is also one of the most important aspects of the character design.
You see the shadow, you know who it is.
But the game somehow still treated like a mystery, even though we've been 4 games in, and it's the same silhouette of the same character portrait we've seen 4 games ago. I'm just making a joke. That just happens often. I need to get my...
Dracula X? What are you watching?
That's not a hentai, that's fucking Castlevania Wonder of Blood, Ennis.
No, that's why I'm saying Dracula X. I was wondering. It's like, I'm not saying it's a hentai.
No, it's not. It's a Q file. It's emulated WOM. It's a WOM.
Ah, okay.
It's a game. You know, it's Wonder of Blood.
Well, okay, it's weird that it was showing it as a video. I was thinking, that doesn't make
for
any
some
sense.
reason,
I recognize it from something. I don't know what it was again. So I was like, what?
Yeah, for some reason Q files are translated to VLC files for some reason. I don't even know why. I don't even know what happens when you click on
it just doesn't work because the program will say, I don't recognize this file. It's not a movie file. Fuck off.
This is a game. What the fuck? Anyway, I guess now that I actually, like, someone have a list up, actually, I didn't even need to get the list up for the next one, because the next one is Final Fantasy X. I should put some music on as well. Give me a minute. There we go. Alright. So Final Fantasy X. I've had the joy of experiencing this game live on stream. And, you know, the story is interesting, the game looks beautiful, some of the CGI is also absolutely beautiful. You know, the game looks great though, even nowadays, like, you know, it aged really well. The PlayStation 2 graphics, you know, really good shit. It is a lot more linear, and on one hand, I kind of miss the exploration of the other Final Fantasy games. On the other hand, it's easier to kind of pick up and play because of how linear it is. I don't have to like worry about whatever chest I'm fucking missing or something. Now, the game does open up a bit later into the game when you can kind of like quick travel to different places. And that's all fine. The world building is interesting, you know, the characters are mostly interesting. And the story is, you know, the story is very interesting too. But, if I had one reason to put this lower than 7, it's the post-game grinding. I've only seen a little bit of it and I thought, Jesus fucking Christ. With 7, there's a lot of post-game grinding as well, a lot of media games you can do. A lot of difficult challenges, but... those things might be annoying, but they still seem doable. Final Fantasy X. Holy shit! Do you want to dodge 1200 lightning bolts? Do you want to play soccer on the water for like 20 hours? I haven't even...
You only touch like the surface of it until you have to reach like max level. With all characters. You have to get the entire board if you want to have maximum stats. just so you can survive. Have
Just to have a
either
chance.
enough damage or survivability.
Just to have a chance. It's painful. It really is painful.
Only to fight like some shitty rematches, really, in a way.
And that's why
I'll call them shitty.
That's really my
fight me.
biggest reason for putting it below 7. Otherwise, I really do enjoy the game. I do think the boss fights are a bit more interesting and you have more strategy in there because the status effects actually seem to somewhat work on some fights.
Some sides, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, overall it's a really solid game. I would say the main adventure I probably kind of like more than 7, but I think 7 overall is feels better. Yeah. That was it.
Sonic Riders.
Ah, interesting.
And he is a childhood pick of anything else. And because it's a very, I don't know what other people really think of it overall. I find it just a very solid, like, racing game where, oh man, the speed that you go at, comparing it to, what do you call it, Mario Karts, unless you obviously put Mario Kart at the highest speed, but then it's uncontrollable. Well, Sonic Riders has that smooth controls while going fast as fuck, right?
Sonic Riders is niche because it has a very high skill. What do you call it?
It's
learning
great.
curve. Learning curve. It is a high learning.
It probably is. Oh, it's great though. It's a really fun racing game. It's just like you said, learning curve.
So where's Free Riders on the list?
I haven't played Free Riders.
It's a Kinect game.
Was it a Kinect? I thought it was a Wii U game. Or am I thinking? No, I'm thinking of the other one, the next one that comes after
Zero
Sonic Riders.
Gravity, which is also on the PS2.
Yeah.
On the Wii. I'm back. Hello, Belloc. Welcome to the stream. We're still doing more of this list. We'll be done by this stream, I swear to God.
Well, easy.
Shouldn't be that difficult. As for my next game, it would be, I think Pokemon Platinum. Fortunately, I didn't die. I don't know how I should react to that. I'm sorry that happened, or I'm happy for you. I don't know. If
y'all, I'm not gonna say too much other than crossing the street is for attention, following the road is for results.
I plead the 5th.
Move it to your side because you put it on my side.
Yeah, I thought you would put Platinum twice on your list. It's a funny pick. Pokemon Platinum. Was there not another game I had on the list before Platinum though? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, it's a bit lower, huh? Alright. Well, Pokemon Platinum. I do think, after replaying it, because I would normally put Emerald on here instead. But honestly, after playing the two games back to back, Platinum, I feel like, doesn't... I think the pacing in Platinum is ironically better, despite, Gen 4 being known as the slow game. Like it took me 25 hours to beat this one versus Emerald's 30 hours, That's just how it is. But I also generally, I had more fun with the experience replaying it than I thought I would, actually. I was kind of dreading it, but after replaying it, I thought, you know what? It was a solid adventure. The DS graphics are, they're pretty. I think they're pretty good. I think that I like how they look. I like the look of the game. There's a lot of Pokemon in the game aren't there either? You're like, holy shit, there's a lot to do in the game. It's just a solid Pokemon game, and I am a Pokemon fan, so I picked the Pokemon game on there,
It might also have a better battle frontier than Emerald because of the different type of thing you can do. Though some might be more annoying than others.
And there's also more of a story to the battle frontier, battle with sword, but that doesn't matter, I don't think.
No, I have to beat that one, but that means I have to grind even harder in comparison to Black and White. But maybe I'll hack some Pokemon.
I think Platinum's a very solid Pokemon game. The funny thing is, I think Sun and Moon is probably something I'd play sooner than both Platinum or Emerald, but the other two games just have more memories with me, and that's kind of important with Pokemon games, I think, because it's all about the childhood memories to an extent.
It's all about those. It's all about that Luxray, Staraptor, Garchomp, and starter Pokemon team.
Yes, yes, exactly. Anyway, you're at number 77.
Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous.
Right.
Made by Russians. But
Oh, well, I guess we can't put it on a list anymore now, and it's made by Russians.
Yes. It's a very it's a D&D like game, and probably less options than in Freedom than Baldur's Gate. I'll put it like that, right? If you want to compare the Baldur's Gate that came out far later, but it's a very addicting. It is a very addicting game. That when I was, I guess, busy with something, I realized I need to stop before I don't get out of house, so out of my home. So I had to quit halfway.
It happens.
And it's a fun game. It's addicting. I do find, to an extent, the class choices to be somewhat limiting, even though it has all of those classes. And I also find the character, the character customization is garbage, and it expects you to just pull up some art that you like to use instead as your profile picture, basically. And I feel that takes me out of the game too easily. You understand that, right? It's like, it's not just the profile pic that I need. I also like the icon of the character.
Right.
I also just need that model to also, at the very least, look better than what it is.
You want the model?
And I find that the game is not that good in that front. Maybe Baldur's Gate is better, but then again, I'll be fucking bears, and I don't want that.
As for my next game, oh yeah, my next game, I wasn't too sure, but I think I'm gonna put in Trials of Mana, which I recently played. The funny thing is, I don't even think this game is necessarily super special, but it's just a lot of fun, and the fun part of the game really is just the different characters you can play as, so slightly changing up the game itself when you replay it. It's a game it's an RPG that's pretty short, but there's plenty of different, like, replayability with all the different classes you can get and all the different characters you can play as instead. You do technically have 3 campaigns as well. I got all achievements for this game, so that should tell you I spent quite a lot of time on this one.
There are 3 campaigns technically, but there's also another 2 where you take only one gender as your party, and you get like one slight difference in cutscene, like somewhere in this game, apparently. But it's like, do you really want to replay the game after so many times just to see that one cutscene, or you're like, I'll play it 5 years later again?
It's more like, you're gonna play it again at some point, because the game is also pretty short and to the point, right?
Exactly.
It just kind of works. Yeah.
Just like what Todd would like to say. And with that said, Skyrim, but I'll explain in a moment.
Alright. Yes, Skyrim, the game before Bethesda. I guess it's like I suppose the last good game Bethesda made. I don't really know. Maybe it's before they kind of just went. I'm just gonna put Skyrim. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. I have never played any of the. I haven't played any of like the Elder Scrolls games or the Fallout games. I am kind of interested though, in like Skyrim at least. I do own the game, but that's not hard to do when there's like 50 ports of them. Now, the Steam sales are nice.
Sorry, my bad. The Roomba apparently had a heart attack and then complained that we picked them up from the spot.
Damn.
But Skyrim is another game that is very fun when it comes to the exploration part. But holy shit, it's like a Final Fantasy 14 when you're done with the side quest and you look at the map and you're like, why?
Oh, holy shit.
Oh lord, why? And it had the same for me. At some point, it had the same issue as Path of the Righteous, where I do feel it can be a bit too addicting, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stop now. I have still other obligations in my life though, so I'll be back later.
You never went back
Never
later.
to touch the game again.
Yeah, that's usually. I know there's a pattern.
There are some games that are better left not to be touched.
Like Conquered?
Yes. And you know, Skyrim is too fucking big. Contrary to what Genshin players would like to say.
It's funny. My next game is Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans. Funny thing is, I kind of forgot to put this on my all games played list as well.
Oh man, that's a very cool one actually.
But it's a very solid game. Like, it genuinely is a very solid RPG. There's a lot of other, like, there's a few other direct anime RPGs, but I feel this one does the best. Both, like, being pretty accurate to the show itself, but also being a very interesting RPG to play. Maybe, like, it doesn't have the deepest mechanics exactly, but it has mechanics that just fucking work. And that's a challenge that is just fun. The soundtrack is good as well. I like the DS like sprites. The DS artwork and the sprites are really good as well. I really love the like team attacks and the it's pretty fun as well to like use level up, like the points you get from leveling up. You can use to like get special attacks and shit like that. So there's still some level of replayability too. It's just a lot of fun. It's very interesting how they can take one arc and just put a bunch of filler in it and somehow it's still entertaining. It's a good game. Genuinely. I wish there was a sequel. There wasn't. I'm sad.
I find this game a very interesting concept, very good looking as well, and on the DS, actually incredible at how it looks on the DS. It's from what I've seen, it's a really interesting, good game.
It's a really underrated
see.
gem. Hold on. Ennis.
Let's see. Where is it? What is it's choosing between either an MMO or another turn-based RPG. I'll go with Monster Sanctuary.
I've heard you talk about the game and it got my interest as well.
Monster Sanctuary is similar to that of Pokemon, but it has no capturing mechanic per se, right? You BTFO the new monster, and you get him into your party, basically, right? And the just take the picture up, the second picture up. Yeah, that one. Just take this one. And with it comes an incredible freedom of like build variety with each monster you have. As well as giving you giving you a lot of strategy and maybe not that deep of a story, but a great one. It can also be seen as Pokemon, but Metroidvania. Right, isn't it Pokemon?
Everything is Pokemon if you try hard enough.
No, but isn't that also Metroidvania? Is it Pokemon also close enough to a Metroidvania if you think about it?
Only Hard Gold, I would think, to be honest. Only the first two gens, I guess, better said. Because when you think about it, like, only Gen 1 and 2 really allow you to, like, maybe fight a different gym lead at some point, or maybe go to a different area first.
You're right. Oh yeah, that's it. It's a really good game. Really fun mechanics as well. Not on the too long side, and it doesn't feel like Skyrim or Path of the Righteous, where it will take your life if you play it a bit too long.
What I can tell, I'd probably put this game on the list too if I had played it, because I definitely do think it's better than some Pokemon games as well. But, I haven't played it, so I can't say anything. I've even seen it in action. Actually, I've seen it a little bit in action, of course, but I edited the video, but that doesn't count. Doesn't count. My next game... hold on. Yeah, okay. My next game is actually... Super Dimension Neptunia vs. Sega Hard Girls. Yes. Yes, it's that game. Versus Sega. The name is difficult because it's like there's like 50 different names for this game. But,
oh, this one is in Japanese. We don't know what it says, so we should be safe.
Yeah, you know what? That's fine. That's how it works. This game is funny because I saw it in action once, and while I enjoyed some cutscenes, I found them funny. I was really dreading playing it myself, actually, before the commentary. Only to end up having this as my third favorite Neptunia game. Like, if I were to, I could criticize the heavy amount of grinding you have to do to beat the game. On the other hand, I don't really mind it, because I feel the rewards for beating the enemies just feels really good. Because of getting the true ending just feels very satisfying. I think it's also because, I like games like Chrono Trigger. I guess I just like games where you go back in time to fix your fuck-ups. Like, that's why I like V-Zero probably as well as an anime. But I generally just enjoy parts of the story. I like the idea of, everything is getting worse and worse in history. It all caused the world that the main character's living in to just be a wasteland globally. And you learn that history's actually fucked up from the very beginning, and we can try to change history to save the world. And you kind of what I just enjoy is that when you actually go for this true ending, you kind of just see it, right? It's visible what your actions have done. Like the world that you were originally from is now absolutely beautiful. And the game is very challenging too with its boss fights, and you kind of have to actually learn how the gameplay mechanics work in order to actually beat them, besides just level grinding. I kind of ended up liking the battle system as well because of that, with how you do turn orders. I have a meter to determine what you do. That's funny when I think about it. It actually is kind of similar to Victory 2R, but not as slow as Victory 2R. And I think that aspect kind of makes it better. There's some other cool things you can do as well with the selecting certain skills for certain characters, or having a class system, though the class system doesn't matter too much, because some skills are just way better than others. But yeah, I think it's still a very fun game. I can't say I highly recommend it, because it does have a high grinding curve. If you don't like grinding, it's difficult, but if you don't mind grinding, like me, honestly, I don't mind it. I like it. Good game.
A Fire Emblem Awakening.
That's a good one. Honestly,
I really couldn't really put Three Houses there right away, because I haven't beaten it yet. So ever. That's mainly that's it. But otherwise, I'm liking Fire Emblem Awakening. The story, the characters are, lovable. Almost every single one of them. And the combat is just a very solid loop. The story keeps itself interesting. People say, people come in again saying that you can grind, so it makes the game easy. And I'm like, man, how much grinding do people do? Like, the amount of grinding you have to do seems to be fucking excessive with these people. You
can say that about a lot of games. Even with Dark Souls, you could say that to an extent. But how much are you actually going to grind, though?
Exactly, it's like every single time I hear this, and with that said, no, it's a very solid difficulty. Though I think that the cool thing was the pair up system, as well as the support system being very nice in how they work together.
At some point, they just paired up the two main characters, and they never lost a fight.
You never lose a fight, but I did have a difficult time with the last few fights. So it's solid. In that sense, it's a good game.
It's a solid game. It's funny because it's also kind of a turning point to the Fire Emblem franchise, because this was gonna be the last game if it didn't sell. But it sold the most.
And somehow Fire Emblem Fates came out, which was the one that seemed to be the weakest point.
It actually sold more, but it was criticized a lot more. To be fair, it was mostly the localization that was also god awful. That was the worst localization in modern times, so that says a lot. Because a lot of it is bad. But it's also a turning point of it being. It always had an anime art style, but now that it's out of the pixel art era, it's more noticeable that it's anime art style. And some Fire Emblem fans hate this game because it turned the games into weep shit. But I am a weep, so I'll enjoy it more.
You see, I'll shit on them by saying it now. It like you said, it always had an anime art style. It was just that outside of battles, it was more pixel. Outside of those stilted cutscenes, it was always pixels. But I'll tell you this: I would rather if you were to have it continue with Fire Awakening's way of having the units, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the pixel art style had far better looking units than the Awakening has.
See, it's funny you say that, because when I think about it, right, most of the hentai of like Fire Emblem games are still of the older games. So I think you might have a point somewhere.
No, but look. I'm not talking about when it comes to. I'll send you some pictures of them, right? When I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the artwork, because that's probably where they base off the hentai from, right?
Yes.
But what I'm talking about more is when you go into the combat, you have your unit standing on the map. You will see when they end up fighting, you will see it looking so much cooler with some of the units, in many ways. But that's something I'll show you later.
Oh, I guess my turn, and I'm gonna throw a curveball. You will never expect this. In fact, Ennis doesn't even know. I don't even know if Ennis knows this game exists.
Just pulls out Supaba's baseball game.
That would be funny. Oh, it's called Pokemon.
Jess tries to throw me a curveball. Fuck you! I played and beaten this game.
Oh shit, you did?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know you played this one. Anyway,
very fun.
I actually really liked this game when I was a child, and you know, I think I'll like it again if I play it again. Pokepark V is an interesting one, you know. It's like you try to gather a bunch of like. It's so long ago that I played it though. I really want to play it again for the live stream channel at some point, but.
I have it a bit fresher about, but it really is just for gathering your nakamas to beat any challenge you find.
Yep, it's basically, you know, you do a bunch of like small things in the game, like you race a bit, you fight a bit, you do some other side quests in there. But you know, it's just fun to explore all of these areas. They look very nice, and I do remember the soundtrack being pretty good. But it has a really nice atmosphere to it, and especially with the Pokemon actually saying their names instead of their sound bits. Which I don't know why they didn't change that at some point in the game series to begin with. Actually, it makes me think about how much Game Freak...
Money.
Yeah, it makes me just think about how Game Freak just doesn't bother. I've never played the Wii U game, the sequel, so I can't say much for that one. But I really enjoyed my time with this one. I was very happy when I played this game. I'd say this is pretty much a comfort game, you know? Like, there's plenty of things to do. And again, I love the atmosphere of all the locations, especially like I think one of my favorite ones is like the ghost house, for example. Like there's so much atmosphere in that stage alone. And it's just kind of nice to see all these Pokemon just walking around naturally, you know, eventually just befriending them and shit. It's genuinely just a magical experience if you're a child, and maybe even for me now if I were to play it again. Well,
alright. Grand Fantasia.
Ah, yes. I remember that MMO.
There's probably the first MMO I was able to play. And it's another one made by Area Games, then owned by X Legends, then owned by another company. I think you just take that. Oh wait, it's low quality. Take the pic there under. The one with the staff, with the orb. No, go to the left with your mouse a bit. Then down. This one, maybe that one should do. And then, oh wait, maybe the one beneath it.
This is perfect.
This one, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
And at the anime art style, it's very dated. Holy shit, is it so dated now? Did it try to be like it's a World of Warcraft clone? You had like one character and you were stuck for life with that character.
Let me guess, this is WebP, isn't it?
Hmm?
This image is WebP, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Fuck you! I hate WebP!
Just take this one. You write down the name, it's fine.
I fucking hate WebP. Holy shit. It is the most garbage format in existence.
Just write the name next to it. There you go. Saved it. Who fucking cares? Right now, its servers are basically on the dead side, with only overpowered players in there, probably talking to each other on a daily basis.
It's a chatting game now.
It's a chatting game now. You know, I played sometimes for the gameplay, for the gameplay, and just to grind as an idiot. But It's otherwise. It had a cool system where you had your craftsmen's, the sprites that you had to grind up and bond with, which is just a menace in its own right. When I look back on it, but it was it's a fun MMO, and it can be and it has actually often go into the solo MMO trend because it has a dead population.
I had a fun time with this game, and I played it in this as well. And like
It is.
there's a lot of like nice little micromanaging things you could do while grinding here and there as well. At the end of the day, though, it's been so long ago. we played it when we were like. I played it with him when I was like 12 or 13 or something.
They added even recently, maybe 2 years ago, a new job in there just to try and get some more people, which was the Keyblade Warrior.
We done that also a little bit. Actually, that's way longer than 2 years ago, and it's like we're getting old. You just don't realize
probably.
it.
And it's
unfortunate. It's kind of unfortunate where what happens to an MMO when time goes on, because eventually it just kind of dies off. When the game itself might still be solid, which is why it would be nice if there could be like servers, or it could be like you could have like user-to-user connections instead for like future playthroughs or something.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Eden Eternal in this sense. A lot of MMOs have like died in those years,
Yeah. 14 has taken so many players too.
Yes. It even taken World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting dark in here. I'm gonna pull a curtain real quick.
Yeah, it got dark when we started talking about the death of MMOs. Can't believe it. My next game is, yeah. Yes. There's also a recent one I played this year. Hold on, I'm gonna get the image, because this is already... It is the Spiral Reignited Trilogy. I mean, as a fan of platformers, of course, I'd put another platformer on there. I recently played this one, and the first game, I thought it was a little bit too easy. That was my only gripe with the first one. But I thought that like the magical like fairy tale like graphics and the how high quality everything else is, the smooth controls as well. And it was just fun. The first game was very solid, and I think any child would enjoy it. But the second game, I really think they stepped everything else up. There was a lot more to do. I really liked the meeting of all those different characters on those stages, helping them out and shit. It became a bit more of a collectathon, I guess, by the time. I mean, it was always kind of a collectathon, but it was even more so a collectathon by the second game. I think the second game was the best one. The third game could have been the best one too, but I find that there's some aspects of the third game that doesn't feel... It feels like a bit rushed here and there with the third game. The second game was perfect, I think. Still a bit on the easy side, but the second game does have a bit more challenge, especially if you go for all achievements and shit, which I did. But not all achievements, I went for all the in-game achievements. They're different from the regular achievements, that's besides the point. And, the third game is still a very good game. I still think the third game is better than the first game, but man, there's some boss fights. Not one boss fight in particular that was annoying. Other than that, the third game is mostly just like... It was just disappointing with the final boss there being no interaction despite all the build-up and stuff. It felt like they had something they wanted to build up to in the third game, but they just didn't do it. Overall, like, Spiral Reignited is a very solid trilogy. But I rated all 3 games 9 out of 10. I think the second one I went to like 9.5 out of 10. Even. I do recommend them. Though if you want something a bit more challenging, the first game is probably not going to be it for you, because it's not. The first game is very easy. Which is fine. It is really like the game made for children, and you know what? It doesn't sacrifice quality for that, at least. It's 100% quality game.
Alright. For me, the next one is another niche game, Astrea. Let me double check that on stream for Bo, because you're probably gonna have a difficult time finding it. Oh, there you go. That's the third one. Yeah, there's the fourth one. Yeah, this one.
I don't think I've heard of this game. What can you tell me about it?
It's a roguelike deck builder where you use dice where you have this balance meter of light and darkness, or the purification and corruption. and you try to save the land that is corrupted with you, and throw around dice. It's astre with a T in between.
Oops.
Yeah, and it's you have it's your roguelike deck builder where you get some dices, risk, with high risk, low risk, and all that kind of stuff, and you try to like beat the challenge that's thrown at you. A lot of math, but it's very satisfying. Can be really addicting as well. It's a fun game. But also different characters adding different gameplay styles too.
My next game is actually gonna be Curse of the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I would also kind of like to link it with the second game, but I haven't finished it. But I would say, aside from the second game having its own issues, despite having also like some improvements and some more content, it's a bit bloated with like how it's you have to do some backtracking here and there. The second game is interesting because like the second game has different episodes, and the different episodes are basically replaythroughs of the game, but with different endings. And the third episode of the second game turns into a Mega Man structure where every stage is like different abilities and every stage is different characters, and you have to like choose what stage you get to the different characters and shit, instead of like it being from stage 1 to stage 2, which is in stage 3. It's really weird. But Curse of the Moon, I think, is just I had Castlevania 4 and 1 together on the list, but I don't know if they're gonna be on here because I think Curse of the Moon basically just does the old school Castlevania style gameplay perfectly, to the point where I don't really think I would need to go back to Castlevania, because I think this game already does that perfectly. You have a choice between veteran style and casual style. Veteran style gives you lives and has knockback, whereas casual style doesn't have knockback and doesn't you have unlimited lives. It's challenging, but not nearly as hard as most Castlevania games. Even with like veteran mode, you get plenty of lives as well, and plenty of ways to regain lives. But overall, it's just a very fun game that's pretty replayable as well. Like if the game does want you, like I got all achievements for the first game, and I highly recommend it for anyone who wants a challenge. Also, I've been playing Bloodlines to practice for the next stream, and I actually quite enjoy that game a bit more than Castlevania 1 and 4, I think. But Bloodstained Curse, I do recommend Bloodstained Curse of the Moon as well if you've never played the old school Castlevania game, because it's just very beginner. It's kind of beginner friendly when it comes in terms of Castlevania games, at least. It's still difficult, but it's easier to get good at.
Alright, next up will be After Image.
I've got the game. I own the game, actually. I actually saw it first on Twitter and I thought it looked interesting. That's right.
Oh, it's maybe if you take the space away, could work.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah, there you go with the picture. Hopefully, it's not a web thing again.
I fucking hate WebP. Hold on a minute. After Image. Yes, that is how you write it, I think.
If only he could spell, people. If only he could spell.
I'm a writer, by the way.
Listen, you're here to you're here to spit your whatever's on your mind, not to type it well.
We're not here for sophistry. For sophistry. Fuck you. Listen, it's okay. I'm not being paid millions of dollars to write a shitty Netflix show.
I played After Image as well as a certain other Metroidvania game, and noticed that and together with Blasphemous as well, that more and more games are trying to be a bit more difficult in their adventures as well with the Metroidvanias, a lot more.
Yeah.
And one of those things was also with After Image, where it gives you quite some challenges here and there, a bit more like Dark Souls-esque, but you just have resting will respawn all the enemies as well. Exploration, it's a fun exploration game, has an interesting story and lore added to it, and even has a different character perspective to play from as well. That I haven't touched because I just beaten the game like this year or something, and I don't feel like it. But it's very solid in gameplay, and there's a lot of variation in both weapons and spells, I believe.
Nice. my next game is Final Fantasy Dissidia. Now this is my entry to Final Fantasy to begin with. Actually, this is my first Final Fantasy game, technically speaking. Yeah, not even technically. This, you know, obviously it's only technically because it's not a turn-based RPG. It's a fighting game, but it uses a lot. It still uses RPG mechanics though, and it's a very interesting game. Its gameplay mechanics are very unique to it. I don't think, not even some of the games in the same franchise have the same gameplay. Like even the most recent game doesn't have the same flight mechanics that this game does. The fights just take you everywhere, and all the stages are nice references to old Final Fantasy games. This was my entryway to Final Fantasy as a whole. Like I never knew what it was until this game. And then I noticed, hey, I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, like the Roman numerical values to all these characters. What do they mean? And then discover, oh, it's a whole fucking game franchise. Holy shit! And I was just fine with it being turn-based RPGs because I actually had played very little RPGs at the time, but I was just learning English by this point. So you know, it was a good time for me. But this game really, like, there's a lot of single-player content and a story to it as well, with all the main characters just having their own like character development, I guess, because I guess they were taken before they actually finished the story of their own games. But it's just very entertaining. The soundtrack of course is gonna be fucking great because it's Final Fantasy. I mean, you know, you already have like remixes of a bunch of older teams, but also some new teams that are really good. I love like Order that has to be what was it called? Order that needs to be. Hold on, let me look up the team name. Because it's such a nice piano theme. Order that must be protected. Order that must be. Hold on. Yeah, the Order that must be protected is such a nice theme. Alongside with the Messenger is a fucking epic like theme that they didn't even put in the game, but it was fucking 10 out of 10. Generally, just a really, really fun game. It's just unfortunate, you know, there's no like re-release on it on Steam or something, so you can like play it against your friends. It's like a PSP only game, and not that many people play on the PSP anymore, especially not online. So, what's your game?
Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus. That's a fun choice. That's a funny choice. Because I guess I kind of introduced you to this game too. Yeah.
No, you kind of did, but there's also the fact that it was talked about on the internet with the cover stuff. Yeah. Mainly the cover, because nobody cared about anything else.
Like I have the cover right here that I also just think like, man, this looks pretty normal. Whereas the other cover looks very anime as fuck.
It's probably better to represent the game, the anime part.
Yeah.
But a Scarlet Nexus as I just like the characters are again very likable. The music is very amazing. Combat is just on the weaker side of things.
Combat's on
really where it's fun, but you get. Say again.
It's repetitive and a bit stiff at times.
Yes, that's it. It's just not. You can't control the characters really, but the biggest problem is just the stiffness of it all, because you're often just locked in animation for like a lot of things.
And the game expects you to do dodging and shit, so you can return a fire. Yeah. It has good mechanics. It's just that it's boggled by again the repetitive enemy, it's especially near the end that you notice it, but the repetitive enemies and the eventually you get to a gameplay loop where you just do the same attacks at some point. So it is very fun to just kind of connect all those different characters to you and then suddenly use 3 abilities at once.
There's some cool combos you can do with more cool actions as well. Some of them you can really use greatly for DPS, while you can use for defensive reasons, really. So it gives you a lot of options to go with.
I just think they needed to cook a little bit more, put it in the oven a bit to get more enemy variety and maybe more.
Or spend some more time making Code Vein 2 could also be it.
What is this Code Vein 2 you speak of?
It's like instead of spending all those resources on Scarlet Nexus, a Code Vein 2 could come out and somewhere around the corner.
Yep.
What about a God Eater 4? God forbid.
What about God Fane? God Fane. Just combine the two games, make it a...
God Fane Nexus.
God Fane.
God Fane Nexus.
It would be funny if they went to another planet. It was the planet where God Eater takes place.
They go to the planet. They go to the other planet. It's the moon where our monster girl's chilling at.
that would be fucking funny.
They go back down and they see the other half of the Earth is filled with origamis.
What happened? Why is the moon green? I remember why are there trees on the moon? How did that happen? When did
we terraform the Earth?
When did we terraform the moon? What the fuck happened? The story is also very interesting with Scarlet Nexus. That's also a really strong point of the game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So for my next game, it's actually I was thinking about it, but I think I might put in Darksiders actually, the first game, because I haven't played the other one yet. It's a very solid Zelda clone with Mortal Kombat-like combat.
Yes.
I just think it's a bit on the more creepier side compared to like the two other games. Which makes it good for like Halloween playthroughs if you like into that kind of shit. I mean the story is just kind of there, but like it is pretty cool to play as like one of the four horsemen. So I think it's a cool concept. I kind of I think to like fight against like both like demonic like the demons and also like heavenly entities that are at war. And that's a very interesting plot setup. It's just that the story in itself is kind of like on the backseat where you're mostly just focusing on the game. Maybe some of the lore here and there, mostly just like solving puzzles in the dungeons, and it's just fun to get all these different upgrades to weapons and stuff. It's just a very solid combination of two good franchises. The final boss sucks.
I do have to actually fuck! I had some fucking joke in my mind. I completely forgot. Oh well, let's move on. Monster Hunter Stories 2.
See, that's a game I specifically would put on my top 100 list. I do recognize the quality, but fuck, man. Hunter Stories. I like the ideas the game has. I like the core combat of the game to an extent. The game is definitely more quality than Pokemon, that's for sure. I can't say much for the sound. I don't really remember the soundtrack much. The game looks definitely good. But fuck me, I got so tired of constantly going to the same random generated dungeons, which are just 3 dungeons that are randomly generated between each other. I got so tired of constantly having to fucking... At some point, I had to fight like 4 monsters that were just 4 recallers of each other. And then also kind of someone has to remember what they're weak to, what they usually use with rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, can you wait where you start playing actual Monster Hunter and you have to fight the recallers as well?
Yeah, the problem I just think, man, I don't mind recallers in and of itself, because Digimon has recallers too, but for this game specifically, I felt it annoyed me the most. It was just already repetitive. That's the problem, really. And it would be fine if I just mostly focus on the main story. So if I ever come back to the game, that's what I'll do. But I just hope that I don't get fucked because I focus on the main story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It just said a lot of things. I have nothing else to add. I mean, soundtrack is just memorable. It has some really cool things going on with the different weapons the character can use and the monsters you can customize as the player.
Yeah, nice character design.
Which is really cool.
And some of the armor is also really cool.
Yes, and they had the beauty of adding the glamour system as well into this game, so you don't have to all wear a specific armor just because it has good stats. Or at the very least, you don't have to be stuck with the looks you don't like, better put.
And that's a really good quality of the game. I really enjoy that aspect of the game as well.
Alrighty, your turn.
86.
I'm actually curious about the the playlist that's playing, right? Would the Cabaret Club be in there as well?
No! Alright. This one might be also included on a list. I'm gonna include Mario Party, and for me, I'm just gonna put it in 8 because that's the one DS is the one I played a lot for myself, but like 8 is the one I played the most with friends because that's all I had, and that's all other people had too. So Mario Party 8 it was, right? Is it the best Mario Party? I don't know, but like that's the one I played. It's just Mario Party in general, right? Like just, you know, Mario Party is just that game. Again, if it's just a Mario Kart, it's Mario Party you can just put on and you can make everyone hate each other. It's fucking fantastic. It's just funny,
Yes.
you know? And sometimes that's all a game needs to be. You know, it's a game that's perfectly for good laughs. This is like the party game that, you know, you pull out. Otherwise you could have like that Aspo game where they have like 50 like other like board games or some shit.
The thing I've learned is that Mario Party makes you it makes your friends become your enemy. Well, when you play Monopoly, the state becomes your enemy.
What it becomes, it already is.
You know, you'll just learn it from young age. Hate the state.
You'll learn that taxes
Why
are
did
bad.
you? How did you lose all your money? Taxes.
Man, I can't believe Texas would do this. No tax.
I know, right?
Anyway, yeah. Give me, give me your next one.
Slay the Spire. Wait, is that the right name? Yeah, Slay the Spire.
Yeah, you've told me about this one before.
Again, another roguelike deck builder with different characters and playstyles.
I'm starting to notice
Which
a trend.
Yeah, I have a few roguelike deck builders going on in my game in my library, and it's mainly there for let's distract myself for a bit. Either get addicted because they are very addicting games, and it seems like I do like to gamble, which basically roguelike deck builders are. Do you like to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Not a gambling game.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. It is
So Attack Force is 6, right?
It is on the list, though. It's not right now, but it is on the list.
You're right. It should have been on the number 6. Oh wait, this is the number 6 spot. Oh wait, we're already past it.
Maybe it's gonna be on 96. You don't know. No, I guess my next game is gonna be it's gonna be an odd one. Oddworld Apes Odyssey, actually. Now this game, I need to replay
that's
this.
odd.
Yeah, that is odd. Adworld, yes. that is the new sequel where it's all but all fucking ads. But Oddworld,
Kill me.
yeah, Oddworld's Apes Odyssey is one of my childhood games. I played this game as young as 5. This game, I never beat it because this game is fucking hard. This game is not simply a platform, except actually it's barely platforming. It's a puzzle game, a 2D puzzle game, where you will die a lot.
Yeah, I remember this game.
This game does not care about your life. You are a slave that's trying to escape, and they're trying to crack the whip at you at any point in time. One day I'll learn how to write Odyssey correctly. Must be. But man, I had so many funny memories because, you know, I love seeing characters die horrible deaths in video games. Child me thought it was funny. I played this sometimes with my dad as well. And, you know, he rages at the game and I think that's funny too. But it also just, you know, genuinely has an interesting, like, lore to it. I genuinely just like the overall feel, the creepy feel and atmosphere to it is just perfect for this type of game. And I just love the graphics are just very you know, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a nice looking game, but it looks perfect for the type of game that it is, and it's just very nostalgic to me. So this is really a nostalgia pick, if anything.
Right. So suddenly boss music is playing.
Yeah.
Wait, aren't we listening to a relaxing track?
It says it. Welke is een relaxing track?
Alright.
Well,
Octopath Traveler is next.
yeah, I was really questioning whether I would put it on the list myself.
That's the reason why I put it so low.
Yeah.
Because if I compare it to like Bravely Default, which is also made by the same guys, devs, I find that the Bravely Default just does a lot of things better. The gameplay loop of Octopath Traveler is very satisfying. Very a lot of fun building those characters to have these big dick damage and everything else going on, right? But and I find when I look at it from outside, like after all the dopamine is gone, basically, it's nothing too deep going on with it. The worst part for me, as I have complained about this probably a few times, is I just find that 8 different characters are way too disconnected with each other to which makes it feel less interesting. Yeah. I like it more when those characters are like more connected with each other in the story, but now you just have scattered stories. For some reason, suddenly you have this thief, teaming up with all the other characters who are good-hearted, and you're like,
one of them is a merchant who would hate thievery no matter what.
Yeah, so it's really it clashes with each other. So
it's something where I really wonder what the developers were thinking, because like they had such a good I think the idea was pretty good. Like it adds for a lot of replayability, but the problem is that like the replayability angle gets out of the window when it's already really fucking long, and my issue as well is that at some point, like certain dungeons and enemies, you're just fighting recallers, and it gets a bit tiring with how long it is.
I feel it's also worth mentioning that though we have this replayability idea going on, let's be real here. You have to do all these character stories, at some point. So
yeah.
You have seen them all. The only replayability you could say, quote unquote, is who am I going to start with?
Yeah, that's how it is, really. It's like, how do you start your journey? How you do those journeys, and that's really how the replayability angle comes from. But again, at the end of the day, it's a long fucking game, and the stories are too disconnected to enjoy this fairly long game. And you can both shorten the game and make the stories more connected if you just like made it that the first 8 chapters are the character stories. Then the next chapters is like 2 characters teaming up. Then the next few chapters are a split of 4 characters, like two groups of 4 characters like working. Then the next 8 chapters are gonna be them finishing the story arcs. And then you have like the last chapter where they all come together. That would make sense story-wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, not only that, but there's also just this thing where it's like, a character can be alone in the story while having 3 party members by their side, while the story pretends they're all alone. And that doesn't make any sense. The biggest one...
Wow, OSP!
Primrose, I think was her name. She's the best example, because it's all about how revenge leaves you all alone in the end. You're gonna be sad and shit. She has 7 friends with her! She has more people with her than she had before the revenge plot.
Oh, this here, Jess.
Fuck me.
It's playing. I knew it.
Ah! I hate
all right.
Life. Anyway, my next game, I guess, then, I'm gonna make a portion of people angry.
Go on.
Again, can you guess? Let's take a guess.
I wouldn't know, Jess.
Okay, it's Genshin Impact.
Alright.
I've put way too much hours into this not to put this on the list. So,
fair enough.
Genshin Impact, I have criticisms about it after, playing it for a long time. Because, I played so many hours, but, I could exchange this game for another mobile gacha game, or not even a mobile game, just any kind of game similar to it that's very long. At some point, I could probably do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't play a lot of gacha games, so this is like the only one I would put on the list so far. Because, I'm looking at Everness to Nepherness, and I might replace that game, but so, you play that game instead. But, well, I found the gameplay at first very interesting with all the elemental, reactions and stuff, and the character switching, can make for interesting builds and shit like that. But, when you're not grinding heavily like me, and you're just playing the main game, you start getting a bit tired of, fighting all these enemies. At some point, you just want to explore and not even fight the enemies anymore. Not gonna lie. The game is very, very big and very, very long, right? There's so much stuff to do. And that is, it's insane. Someone made a whole playthrough, the whole Genshin Impact playthrough on YouTube, the full video, with only doing, the main stuff. It was up until like I think it was up until Sumeru, I believe, not even Fontaine. That alone took already 2 days, like 40. That took 72 hours actually. It took 72 hours, I think, to beat the game. And it's difficult to then really enjoy as much because it is a bit too big for me, even for me. Though I love exploring in the game. I love the art style. I love the how far away you can see all of the things in the distance that you can go to. It's even more impressive than most other games. The weather effects are honestly even like the weather effects this game has is already like above a lot of other games, like especially anime style games. It takes an anime art style and makes something really beautiful, despite using a lot of like assets, like just like engine assets in like one stat at the beginning of the game. But every area has something new to it that's enjoyable, like and also some new way to explore. Like Sumeru has the slingshot, Fontaine has the diving, Natlan now has the animal transformations, and when I just do the main part of Genshin Impact, like just a bit of exploring, not too much exploring because it's too big. And when I look at the story as well, and of course a pretty nice soundtrack, that's it's just very relaxing. I can't say that I don't enjoy the game. I love the game, but it's too big, and the combat has tired me out at this point, which is why it's like low and not like really high on the list. And again, I can exchange this for another game at some point probably. But I think it deserves a spot.
Yeah, it does. It's a solid game after all. Still, and I could understand it. It's ultimately why they ended up adding Dendro in there at some point, just to try and spice something up, change something in the game,
it was technically always in there. It's just that no character could use it at that point. Now characters could use it, and they made more mechanics towards it.
All right. Armored Core, Master of Arena, or better put, just Armored Core Gen 1.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do Armored Core. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the picture for Armored Core 1, but like I'm just gonna, you know what I mean. The full package.
Yeah, it's just it's all the full package. For me, I enjoyed playing it the first time. First time, it was very fun. I liked how it looked to an extent. I like the whole mechanics that the game has had. It's very cool, and sucks that exactly when the analog stick probably came out, right? They decided to stick with the D-pad all the way through.
Yeah.
And it certainly has its learning curve. The reason why I would prefer Master of Arena mainly because that had for me the most story involvement going on, where the others felt where 2 also had very not 2. What was it called? The second one.
Fantasia.
Something Fantasia. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one also had actually quite some involved story, but it felt really separate from one in almost every sense.
Yeah.
But ultimately, well, what it is that when you go and play all the newer ones, just after the new one, after the new one, after the new one, you realize really that it has improved so much that the one really is just an expose of how Armored Core began, how it all began, more than anything else.
I think Armored Core 1 is an experience that I think that you will never get in any other game, and therefore it's special on its own. But other than that, the first game, like Master of Arena and Fantasio, I could kind of enjoy, but the first game is aged like milk. Of course, the controls are one thing,
oh god,
and the camera is obnoxious. The biggest problem I had though at some point is especially the platforming, because it felt to me like with Armored Core, they also didn't really understand what they were really making, so they had a lot of different challenges in there, which some of them did not work with the gameplay, with the game they were making. Which platforming is. Oh man, you can see my blind live stream session where on the final stage, that platforming section alone made me hate the fucking game. It was so awful, and
yes,
it was so boring.
100%.
I hated the platforming section. Otherwise, the game would have been fine, because even though I do think it has aged like milk, I do think Phantasm, Ghost Phantasm, I don't fucking know. The expansions, I feel like they knew a lot better what they were doing, and they had much better design. Even though I do not think they have the interesting experience of the first Armored Core game with how the stories get mostly told through the missions themselves, and how you can die over and over again, and you get eventually you get a game over when you go in depth. But also it perfectly makes me let me explain what makes video games an art form by saying that it's through the gameplay. This game, right, when it first starts, you're fighting some protesters. You think, why am I fighting protesters? This sounds awful. I would never do that. Then you lose and you start noticing you're in debt. You don't give a shit about morality anymore. You just want money. And it's because it throws, it's only a game can do that, because the game throws you into the shoes of the protagonist. And by experiencing what the protagonist experiences, you start feeling different than what you would normally do. And that's what makes it so great. But also just, the ending portion, the lore, it just makes you think about a lot of things sometimes. And I think, while the other games have similar things to that as well, like similar story beats, I think the first game can only really truly make you feel the experience of being a merc.
You know what? Something worth mentioning about the in-depth part too is that if your depth goes far enough, you end up selling your body to become a science experiment, to become a human plus.
It actually makes you get a game over where you redo the game, but the game becomes easier because you get extra bonuses, and you can do that multiple times to get multiple bonuses.
And it only happens in Armored Core 1 and Armored Core 2, and only happens in the first game of the generation, basically.
Yeah.
So if you end up going in depth in Armored Core 3 or an Armored Core Massive Arena, well, sucks to be you, mate. You're not getting Human Plus. So you have to transfer your save all over to the other games.
Alright.
But yeah.
The next few games are a bit difficult. I think I might go for... Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's another nostalgia pick. It's Pokemon Emerald. Pokemon Emerald is my first Pokemon game. So, obviously, it's gonna be on the list. That's how it works. It's the first Pokemon game, on the list. And right now, I'm pretty, the flaws are pretty obvious to me, right? The HMs are terrible, and the surfing I don't mind too much, to be honest. That was my least of my problems. The grinding before the Elite Four as well is pretty, can be pretty rough too. But I love how as a nostalgia game, I love how the game looks, right? I just think it has a unique art style to it that I just absolutely love looking at. I love the soundtrack as well. It has some of my favorite selection of Pokemons as well. Obviously, because, again, it's my first Pokemon game, I'm a zoomer. If you're born around the same time as me, you probably had a Game Boy Advance then, you probably had Pokemon Emerald. And it's just got a bit late with the DS and Pokemon Platinum. Well, we're European, so things are a bit later too. So, that's also a fair point, I think. But it's also this is also one of my first RPGs. Because I played this game before I even understood English, so I had to learn what a bunch of moves were in English instead, compared to the anime. I'm like, oh, I think this means that. You can say that Pokemon Emerald was the first time I was learning English. But yeah, Pokemon Emerald. Again, I'm not a stranger to its flaws, but at the same time, while I would probably play Sun and Moon over this as well, I still think it's a fun adventure. And has some unique things to it too, like you have a dad, you're not fatherless, and 2 teams to fight against as well.
But no more fatherless behaviors.
No more fatherless behavior. But also just the right amount of bonus content.
Yes.
Anyway, your turn.
I give attention to my boy, I don't know actually who it is, for making a game on its own. We who are about to die.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yep, there you go. This is a gladiator simulator, roguelite, or rogue game. It's a rogue game where you play as a person who ends up becoming a gladiator, has to fight to the death, and try to build up your stuff and all that. And if you end up dying, hopefully you have upgraded enough stuff so that it inherits into the new character, right? It's it is a very cool concept, and it's made by what I understand, one guy. One guy project. It's a very cool game. Very, very. It has its what do you call it, addicting gameplay to it as well. In that sense, and it requires some level of skill as well as knowledge about the maps and the weapons and all that. Pretty cool game, all in all.
Okay. My next game, I guess it's gonna be Dragon Ball FighterZ. This is the only real, old more traditional fighting game that I've played because it's Dragon Ball Z. And it has kind of taught me how to play these games to an extent, because I still suck at them. Because this is still pretty... It's definitely more casualized, like most modern fighting games that use this style. It's more simplified, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either. I just kind of wish it could turn out...
It's definitely different from the other fighting games too, as far as I know.
It's still...
the arc system is made.
Yeah, that's probably the thing, right? Like, a lot of fighting games are pretty similar when it comes to traditional fighting games. I think that was what makes FighterZ great, is that it's very much its own thing. And it looks, as you would expect from Arc systems, like the animations are fucking fantastic, and all the neat little things that the game has, dramatic finishes and stage destructive finishers and all the interactions with characters. The single player content though is fucking ass. I love the interactions with some characters, they're funny, but other than that, it's not fun to do single player with this game. But, I wish I had friends to play this game with, because I love the raid style. The raids are an interesting idea where you, each of the 3 people take a different character, and then they work together to fight, the big, enemies and bosses as they get stronger and stronger with each, level, until they fight a big boss and they get fucked. But it's fun. And the soundtrack is fucking fantastic, too. Yep. That's it. That's the tweet.
What was it again called? Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core.
Interesting choice.
Another game I would go quickly back into playing, but if it is the right game I'm remembering. Yep, it is.
Yeah, this is the remake.
This is a remake, yes, but I'm talking specifically of the PSP version that I played. But don't worry, you can put the reunion in there. It doesn't matter to be too much.
It matters to be autistic.
All right, fine. Crisis Core is a very interesting game where it is mainly action RPG. I think it looks can be looked similarly to Kingdom Hearts, funny enough, with how some of its system works. It's more of an addition to the to Zack's story and changes a few things around with it. Enjoyable it is though, and it has some of the coolest summon. And it has not the cool. It has the coolest summon animations in the game. I think I showed it to you, Jess, at some point.
Right.
With and they're all amazing. The combat is still very solid. It's a nice finish to Zack's backstory as well. Was it Zack?
Yeah.
Was Zack, right?
Yeah, it was Zack.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice game.
So when are you gonna play the remake?
Not Fox Square Enix. It's not getting my money anymore. Than 14 does. 14 is sucking me dry.
14
piece of shit.
For the OCP is the sole thing holding up the company at the moment.
Yes.
For now. I guess my next choice would actually be Gamera 2000. It's a recent game I just played. Yeah, what can I say? I have to put one shooter on there at least. And if I have to put one shooter on here, it would be this game. I guess it doesn't necessarily do anything too special, and the final boss can be a bit overwhelming, especially with all the slowdown and like most shooters, my fucking thumb is in pain. But, it's an hour long, it's short and sweet, and it's a lot of fun. I really like the PlayStation 1 graphics. It really takes that kind of, anime art style, I guess, to an extent. When it comes to the main game, despite, the FMVs being, live action and shit, which is fucking funny. The live action FMVs are, cheesy, and I think they work perfectly with the style of the game. voice acting being cheesy as fuck as well. Like, you can do Japanese voices, but why would you do that when the English voice acting is funny? And the funniest part is that this game is Japanese only, but it has English menus and English voice acting as well. But you can choose the Japanese voice acting too if you want to. It's just that the subtitles aren't Japanese, so, you know, it'll be easier to play it in English. But I had a fun time with this game. It's just, you know, it's like, I've heard this is a lot like, Dragoon, I think? Legends of Dragoon? No, that's another game. It was like Dragoon Panzer, that's the game. You can turn the camera with like the R1 and L2, L1 buttons and shit. You have different like vehicles and like modes as well so the gameplay doesn't become repetitive either. Very high action. And a lot of the designs are really cool too. Yes, that's it. That's the tweet. Brandis, you're 91.
I'll put Monster Hunter in there.
Monster Hunter 1, I can't believe it.
The OG Monster Hunter. Kind of can, you know, be put next to it Monster Hunter Freedom. Yeah, Unite.
I'm gonna put the movie poster on.
No, you monster, don't do it. But I put Monster Hunter 2 on the same boat with Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, where Freedom Unite does seem to be a bit more smoother and is more feels more familiar to the newer Monster Hunter games I played. Hunter 1 is just some sort of like weird gem where I can just appreciate where it started, what the ideas were, how it feels. It has to an extent this addicting gameplay loop as well to it, which is important with games after all. That's why I mentioned it a few times at this point. And this game goes even harder into the idea of really you are soloing this and you have to manage your resources to the fullest extent because you're fucking broke and monster hunting doesn't pay as good as you thought it would.
But hey, you know, if you play with friends, then you know it's not so hard. I think, I don't know.
Yeah, no, seriously. If you play with friends, you get more rewards.
My fucking god!
Yeah, well, I don't know why Monster Hunter 1 does that. It's such a fucking monster.
For some reason, my feature after just gave up on living.
And after it hit Monster Hunter 1, it didn't understand what life was anymore.
What do you mean 1? I don't know what my camera is like. I don't know what's wrong with my camera. I just disappeared.
People are still shocked how Monster Hunter 1, how Monster Hunter got a sequel after that, after the first game.
The idea was interesting, I guess. To be fair though, it wasn't popular until the PSP, I don't think.
Yeah. Which actually adds even more confusion as to how it got even so far.
And the next one, looking at this list, I might actually put in, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. I have not finished the game. I've not finished any Mystery Dungeon game. But actually, I was very close to the final boss, but I got my ass kicked multiple times, and I thought, maybe another time. Actually, it was the final boss of, like, you know, the normal, like, it was the Olga Primal, so it's not really the final boss. It's fucking Mystery Dungeon. I never knew Mystery Dungeon was super fucking long until I watched the Let's Play. I thought, oh my god, I didn't know.
Me neither. I thought the Olga was the end.
No, it's not even close to the same thing with, like, Blue Rescue Team. It's like, oh no, it goes on for a while. But
if...
yeah, I put this in there for the amazing music, the nice art style. Of course, this game goes even further with having some nice... backgrounds as well, and I loved it, and you know, the story is interesting as well, and on top of everything else, it's just very unique. Of course, now I am older, I've done some research, and Mystery Dungeon is a genre of games that has started with literally a game called Mystery Dungeon on the Super Nintendo even. So this game just aped that, and now everyone knows this game as the Mystery Dungeon game. But, you know what? Whatever, I didn't play that, so I can only say for this, I really like the unique gameplay to it, and it's very addicting, you know? Trying to get some, like, party members here and there, getting money and shit for the side quests, where you do the main quest and you get powerful. There are many ways to upgrade certain skills and to get certain skills as well. It's just a super solid game, where even if you're not a Pokemon fan, you still might find enjoyment with this game because of how different it is. If you still like, you know, RPGs, I think, to an extent. Yeah.
If I were to ever recommend a strat against the Dialga, one of those things would be see if you can get a Pokemon with Focus Punch. That really can make a huge difference.
It's been so long ago. I don't even. I'm probably gonna replay the game because I'm pretty certain. I have the word. I have played the game without knowing how to actually play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So
Could very well be the case.
Yeah. No. Also, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's the one save file where I had Trico and Trico was one of my party members, and I realized it was a mistake because Growfall was right there.
Doesn't really matter too much, you know that.
It matters when you fight against the Yolka, and the only other party member you have is a water type.
Yeah, but Growfall is still not in the fight, though.
Yes, he is.
You're fighting it with you and your party member. Growfall isn't there.
Okay, well, and my other point is just the fact that my two Pokemon are both weak to do not have any moves that can hit the Yolka.
True, that's why you get Focus Punch.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Dig, that can also work. But that's besides the point.
It was more suffering when I was going through the fucking dungeon where there's a bunch of ice types.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, your 90-second pick.
I would like to again put two games together in this case, which has to be Darksiders 2 and in this case Darksiders Genesis.
Did you actually play the third game?
No, not that Genesis.
Oh.
Genesis is the Switch game. You know what? Look that one up and put it in there. Forget Darksiders 2. You know, everybody who knows what you say when you say Darksiders 2.
Oh, is that a new game? I don't know if do I know this? What is this game?
Yeah, I'm as much shocked as you are when I first found out about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm buying this one. It's a fun little adventure of like in this case the fourth brother and the first brother. What was the name of the first one? War?
Yeah, I think so.
And his other brother and going together to kick some ass. It's a co-op game actually as well.
Oh fuck! So we're gonna play this game together at some point.
We can play this game together, yes. I still have to beat this with my brother though, Genesis. That's how it goes when you play games with other people, you know?
Oh yeah. How dare you ask me? Like we haven't been streaming together. Like I don't know.
No, you don't.
I don't know what's happening to the V2 remote. I don't know if my camera is just dead. I don't know what's happening. It just gave up on life.
Darksiders 2 in this case was my introduction to the Darksiders series, and it is a very and I got it from the PSN subscription back in the day when it meant something.
Yeah, fuck.
And it was, you know, 2 was a very fun game, but when I look back to like the Darksiders 1, they did make it a bit more looty in a sense where you started building your character with substats and all that to make him stronger in certain aspects. But it still had the Zelda-esque like rooking around and getting your upgrade stuff going on as well. Which is it's a weird mix, but it allows for both like the Zelda-esque exploration as well as building your character with skill trees and different abilities and skills, making it nice and varied in that sense.
See, naruhodo. What?
And then Darksiders Genesis decided that who cares about that stuff about upgrade, getting item drops and upgrading. We'll just go back to just upgrades here, get some power ups there, and then boom bam, you do more damage. Done.
Wow.
Still fun though.
So I'm gonna place a game here that we have already placed it before, and finally, I guess it deserves a spot. It's Final Fantasy XIV. Can I just copy a column with the picture? No, I cannot do it with the picture.
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. Where the fuck did you place 14 again? It was not that high.
50.
It was 50, yeah. It was perfect 50. How do I... can you give me a tip on
You just select the columns. Start from 14 and then pull it to where the picture's at.
I can't.
Oh, well, then you just have to copy the picture and put on the text.
God damn it. 50-50. Just copy this and then hopefully the whole text gets. Yeah. Okay.
Hoera!
Wow. So Final Fantasy 14, both of and as I already said quite a bit. When I first played 14, I really loved it. Right. I do think it was a bit, slow in the beginning because it's very beginner friendly, but it gets interesting later. The story I find interesting enough, but again, the pacing is so arduous that it's kind of difficult to pay attention, especially with the localizer thinking. Everyone should talk like Shakespeare at all times. And then also, or just giving characters really weird fucking quirky ways of talking when they never talk like that in Japanese. I love localizers. But there's just brutal texture in general. Like, call me unintelligent, I don't really care, but I don't find the mutual texture fun when all of the side quests also have mutual texture. But when I get to like the fun content, right, the extreme bosses, the raids and shit like that, and all the other extra fun things you can do, like even if it's not something that I immediately would do, but when you play this game, there's many things you can do, like select glamour, good old-fashioned end game of 14 being out, getting your best outfit. Maybe owning a house when the house increases is fixed. You could go fishing, you can do all the crafting jobs and just chill for a bit. You can go to fucking, I don't know, sex roleplay and Limsa Lubinsa with fucking crazies. Or you can listen to music from from actual players that just play
just pulled up an AI to do it for them.
You can make entire dance groups in the game too. There's a lot of crazy things people do, and there's a lot of crazy things people just do just offhand. And the social experience of 14 is fun too. And the community, it depends on what server you go to. It would seem, but when you I have anxiety because you don't want to fuck things up in Dungeon 1's example. It's not that big of a deal because most players in 14 are pretty fucking chill about it as well. So it's basically where, you're encouraged to try almost everything, but at the end of the day, you can kind of do whatever you want, except have a good pacing. That's the one thing not allowed. You cannot just do the main quest quickly, no. So I don't want to get too deep into it, because I can talk a lot about 14, but I do genuinely enjoy what I have played, and there are aspects of the game that I truly think are great, but it's also, there's aspects of it where it's also, again, it can be a bit tiring. Especially with, as we said, just the ridiculous amount of side quests and the poor pacing of the main quests. It's not even the story itself, just the main quest. And how after some expansions, especially after noticeable after Heaven's Word, that every expansion, the main quest kind of feels like they're doing the same things over and over again. The engine fucks them up or something, and they cannot add new kind of things to the game. It's very complex, and I need more time to explain it properly, so I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, you're
right. I have to put in another intermission for a moment, as I still have to do a prayer, so I'll be right back. Sorry.
I hate your god, by the way. That's such a petty thing to say. Well, that's it. That's great. I'm gonna sit here now. We really have 7 games left? That's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn. I'm still thinking, because I do think Dark Souls is gonna be on the list at the end after all. But I'm not sure if I want to link it with Dark Souls 3 or not. Because at the end of the day, I kind of have the same feelings towards the two. I just like Dark Souls 1's adventure more, and I like Dark Souls 3's combat more. I really like the last half of the list, because the last half of the list really shows what our taste eventually goes down to. I think the first half has more diverse games to an extent, but I suppose the also games that like are popular among most people. Well, I mean, most people. I mean, yeah, but like you get to this half of the list, and it's just a lot of games are on the favorites list because of the genre that we like. I like anime type games, but also RPGs and platformers, as you can tell. Oh fuck! I forgot one game. Yeah, I need to put that game on the list. Oh, okay. I missed one game. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, that game's gonna be... Actually, that game might be next when I think about it. Okay, maybe that game is next. Yeah, alright, I forgot another game that I forgot to put on the list. On the all games list. It's a pretty funny list, isn't it? I really do hope some of you like put like your own top 100 lists at the end of this game in the comment section, because I would love to see or read what you guys think. So, like, there's another game I would probably put on next to Gamera 2000, actually, and that was, fuck, what's the name called again? Game shooter with spaceships fighting aliens, something like that. Not the ape, no, that's not that. Graphics. Maybe I should put this one instead. Shooter game. Platypus, it was that game. That was the game I was thinking of. That's a different kind of platypus. Oh my god. This game, man. I think you guys can see it. Yeah, this game.
This game.
This is the fucking game I played a lot as a child with my dad. We got very far, but always died in the end. But fuck, this was funny. It was a good time. It's a pretty old game. Actually, a old game, I believe. I don't know. We both played on PC. Anyway, your turn. 93rd.
Anno Mutation.
Anno Mutation?
Yes.
How do I spell that?
Start off with Anno. Double N.
Mm-hmm.
And then space Mutation.
Mutation.
That's the one.
Mutation. Oh,
yeah,
I've bought this game. I have the game in my library.
This game has a very solid. It's a. You could say a more 2DS version of like a hack and slash. Bit of platforming here and there. Oh, scary. And but it has also an interesting story with lore and characters that are also kind of likable. Set in a futuristic setting, which makes it also different in its own way. Really fun game. It's just and it's on the short side too. So if you wanted more, that kind of sucks. But you're gonna have a good time while you play it.
So I guess I'm gonna link this game to an extent to like the rest, because it's kind of at the end of the day it is the same. Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force 6. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be funny with the numbers. I don't think. Actually, I didn't look.
Sad.
didn't look what number was this. This was not. Yeah, this was 94. We're not gonna be funny with the numbers today, unfortunately. I think it's actually Japanese only, but like we translate or something. I don't fucking know, but I don't really care. You know, any Yu-Gi-Oh game is fine, right? Like it's all card, the same card game things that I think is fun.
Yes. Well, this game specifically coming with the
Synchro summoning.
Synchro summoning.
And yeah, I love the 5D's anime, and I love the synchro summoning era is probably my favorite era of Yu-Gi-Oh. So I kind of enjoyed. It's probably the biggest reason why I enjoyed this game as well. There's also like I had an idea of another. I think it's some of the championships games that also kind of loosely follows the 5D's storyline, and I thought one of those games we should be doing for the controller switching playthrough, because I think that would be a fun one to do. I think you'd enjoy that one. We can even create our own character.
Boy,
that'd be funny. But yeah, what can I say about Yu-Gi-Oh? It's a childhood thing of me as well. Watching the anime, but also just like playing the video games of it. Not understanding most of it because I can't read English. But then, it's fine because Yu-Gi-Oh players don't read either.
You don't want to read. Have you seen the text?
Not them. No, this I think Yu-Gi-Oh, like the 5D's era is like the perfect balance between really fast but not too fast.
Well, see, that's the one thing I am certainly used to, the speed of like the newer Yu-Gi-Oh. So for me, 5D's just fits in, right? The reason why I would go with Tag Force 3 is because it has for somebody who just comes in, right? Mm-hmm. Tag Force 3 is a good introduction to Yu-Gi-Oh! Before you level up into like the faster pacing.
Yes.
And with the added beauty that Tag Force also brings in some synchro summoning in there. Yeah, only synchro summoning. So you can ease yourself into it before you fully invest in there.
Tag Force 6 actually does have Exceed summons as well, it's just they're rare.
Yes,
they are there
were also a lot of.
Which I actually think is a good thing, because that's another way to get, like, if you do want to level up on synchro summoning, there's a way to do it within the game itself, so it's not that hard.
Yeah. In that sense, and then after that, you still have to scratch your head around pendulum summoning, and you'll never figure it out if you don't play.
Is pendulum summoning even still a thing?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
pendulum has never. Pendulum summoning is never gone. It's just that, the devs are busy making cards that aren't pendulum based. Just because pendulum can be so busted if you allow it to.
Did anyone even like pendulum summoning?
Yeah, of course there is people that like pendulum summoning.
Can you name one?
There are people that like big fishing game, Actually, one of the decks I like to play for a bit was Pendulum. But, what else we can put in there is Final Fantasy 13 on my side.
What other? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Final Fantasy 13. It's funny because some fans will say, "Hey, good taste." Other fans will say that you just committed sacrilege and deserve to die.
Yeah, and I'll die on this hill. I don't think Final Fantasy 13 is as bad as people say it is. It is not as solid. No, it's not as solid as the older games, older titles. But it still has, the story-wise, I find it just, as interesting. I find the weak point of that one being is that here's mucho texto that you can read to catch up on the story. Because here's the thing: all the other characters know their role, so they're not going to explain it to each other. You have to find out, which is
okay. That's dumb. Yeah, that's dumb.
That is absolutely dumb. Because otherwise, the story, what the characters are going through is an interesting journey, right? And I do like it in that sense. What I also just find is that the gameplay is not in its best. It can be fun, but it's not as good. Which is why I think it's just something where I think you can play it, you can enjoy it, but you might like the older games more. I mean, I just put it there just to try and get it into the attention for the people, So you hear a different voice of Final Fantasy 13.
And this was to be a Final Fantasy 13 activist.
Yes, Lightning is kind of hot.
Actually, in that case, I'm doing my own activism. Star Wars Republic Commando. A very...
Oh, I was thinking you were going to talk about Jedi Outlaws. Oh, thank Lord. Talking about an actual good game.
Yeah, what the fuck, Ennis? Listen, I'm not you. I only have good games on my list. Allegedly.
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 But you don't know, but somewhere in his Jess room, he has a post of the Outlaw girl.
I think I'd rather commit to I think I'd rather come out as a lolicon to my parents, honestly.
You have it already?
No!
Go on, tell us
what. Of normies? Anyway, yeah, so Star Wars Republic Commando is practically a tactical shooter, right? Actually, you kind of have to work with the AI together to get like the thing to like succeed in the game. And while the game isn't super in depth, and it's also pretty short, it is a good time. You know, it works out with the Star Wars lore. I think the graphics are. It looks pretty realistic, I guess. I can say, it looks unique, I guess, to an extent. It's kind of an odd way to say, but like I love the character designs of the 4 clones as well, and you get a sense of brothership with the 4 of them too. It's just unfortunate that the game doesn't get the sequel like it was supposed to get, because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger. The sequel is supposed to be like where you basically become stormtroopers by the next game. And I thought it would have been interesting, but I never did it, unfortunately. I think this might have been about the time before Disney bought the rights to Star Wars as well, so that's probably right too. But it's very solid. There's a very interesting like campaign. It's mostly the single player really that's important in this game, because I don't think the multiplayer was much touched upon. But yeah, it's just a very good like first-person shooter set in the Star Wars universe that I highly recommend. Yep, that's it.
Alrighty. Oh man. Alright. I guess it is time for one of my nostalgia picks to come in here.
Shrek 3 is here.
Shrek 3, yes. The movie game. The game.
My fucking god.
Good luck finding it though. Yeah, it's a PS2 game. There we go.
My fucking god. Here we go.
So
Finally.
it's what would you? It's a very fun just beat 'em up game. Really, you go into a stage. It follows the story, the movie really well. You beat up a lot. You go to different places and beat people up. You know, as you do as Shrek, I guess. Have different characters to play around with a bit, but it's mainly Shrek doing all the good stuff. Very fun game. If for some reason you went back in time and you if you ever somehow end up back in time and you have to give a kid a game, you can give this game to the kid and he'll enjoy it.
I assume so. So I guess my next game is I was a bit here and there. Yeah, I wasn't certain if it was gonna be on the list, but I thought, you know what? I think it deserves to be there. I'm gonna pick Yakuza 0. Now, Yakuza 0, I think it's a good game. I just found that like the gameplay is, I feel there's a part of me that says that I'm just shit at the game, and that's fair. But there's a part of me that thinks the gameplay is just kind of a weak point of the game, because I'm already not really someone that plays beat 'em ups a lot, but I find the control a bit stiff. Which causes me to get hit a lot, because I don't know, I just feel the game is very stiff, especially with like when a bunch of enemies just like come after you at once and there's barely any way to do anything about it. The heat actions are really cool, right? And there's many different animations as well, and that's really cool. The only problem with that is that sometimes it's all on the same button, so there's plenty of times where I want to do a smash attack, but Kiryu says no. I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of this guy. No, he's resistant to it and the heat gauge will go down. I don't give a fuck. Why is it on the same button as the smash button? Why? There's so many, there's like a few buttons you don't even fucking use. Just, god damn it. Right to God. Aside from so, and other than that, my problem with the gameplay is that when I want to do new moves, I barely have any way to really try them out because either I'm already dealing with enemies that will just fucking hurt me a lot, or there's no training mode like in Devil May Cry, which I think the game would have really benefited from, because then I think the gameplay might have been more fun to learn. But other than that, like, the story is fantastic, and well, I can think some of the mini games are a little bit tedious to do, especially if you want to get all achievements. Do not get all achievements, holy shit, you fucking die. But I love the side quest being goofy, because it really goes in context with the overall serious and dark story. And it kind of works, because Yakuza is about life, I guess, in a sense, right? Showing you the heights of like life and all the goofy shit, while also all the dark and serious stuff. There comes a point in the game where I do stop playing side quests because the story is just that good, right? Like, I want to see what happens next. The game looks really good, the game soundtrack is really good. There's a lot of things to do in the game, though it can be a bit long because of it. I would say, though, just... I also wanted to say, fuck, goddammit, I lost my train of thought, holy shit. Why do I keep doing that? I guess another criticism I could say is, like, trying to get your best styles, because fuck the Gabbard Club, and actually the wheel state I don't mind, because you can do that in the background, but the Gabbard stuff, like, when you try to do everything, holy shit, it goes on for fucking ever. But at the end of the day, I enjoy a lot of it. You know, I can enjoy it for what it is, even if I do have issues with the gameplay here and there. And I do enjoy the upgrading of your abilities here, like, as well. Which naturally makes you feel like more like a badass as time goes on.
How do I upgrade myself? You just invest money into yourself. How do I do that?
You just collect every vaccine. Well,
alright. And get another nostalgia pick so that you can give it to your children if you somehow go back in time. I don't know why you would do that, but...
Is it GeForce?
I would rather go first with Tom and Jerry. I'm calling it Battle Royale because I don't remember the exact name of it.
Is it Battle of the Whiskers?
Probably yes.
It was a potential pick for me as well. I don't know. There were two games I remember playing. Was it this one?
Well, yeah, I think it's probably this one. But there's also I don't remember the box art. It probably was this one though. When I think about it,
yeah, I played.
A lot of different characters to play with.
Games, but I don't remember what the other game is called. This is the second game I played on the PS2, and yeah, it's a fun game.
It's like it's a neat fighting game with like you could almost think of it as like Smash, in how it is made. Just that there was only health bars, right, and a chance of falling off the stage.
But it's in 3D. It's also made it fun. It's a fun arena fighter.
Yeah. Adding on with all the different characters you can get and the difficulty of it all, it's a very fun game.
But man, is that dog an overpowered character? Fuck that guy. Alright, I guess my next game... Oh, man. Yeah, I guess it's time for... I'm gonna link to the games. And it's gonna be Dark Souls 1 and 3. I was kind of reluctant because I wasn't too sure, but I do think the games are great, but I find them a bit... It's not that they're difficult, it's that they're difficult, but that's not really the reason. It's that I find their control doesn't really agree with my playstyle, right? Like, you're meant to play defensively, and I like to play offensively and quickly, you know?
Am I kind of wrong in thinking that I could have sworn you put a Dark Souls somewhere earlier, before?
No, that was you. You placed on number 1.
No, I could have sworn you placed Dark Souls in there, but now if you scroll through it quickly, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did not. This is, and the reason I've linked the two games together, because, well, I think Dark Souls 1 is overall better designed, and I think the level design is better. The adventure itself is more memorable. Dark Souls 3 is just as creative, and just... You know, the combat is definitely more fun than Dark Souls 1, even if some of the enemy placement is a bit overwhelming at times. But Dark Souls 1 and 3 are also pretty, especially Dark Souls 1 is also pretty slow. And it makes it difficult for me to fully enjoy And that's not the game's fault 100%. There are some criticisms that are like 100%, like the walkbacks are atrocious at times. And I do miss there being a soundtrack for like the stages themselves when I die often, because at some point I do get bored, not because the game is boring, but because I miss a soundtrack. But they are still like fantastic games, and the only reason I put them so low is not because they're worse than some of the games I put, but because I don't enjoy it as much, subjectively. But I still find them to be very memorable adventures and very fun to stream. So
at the end, what matters is the most in a game is how much do you enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
And so never, and for me, it's always important. It's like if you don't like Dark Souls 1, nothing is wrong with that. It's the same thing I say to other people when it comes to even the movie. Even if you say you like the sequel Star Wars movies, I'll take as an example, but not the original trilogy. I'm like, I'm not gonna force feed you to watch those movies over and over again until you like it, because that's not how it's supposed to work,
to be
right?
fair, though, when it's that bad, I think you're a lost cause. I'm just gonna like,
but that's exactly
I'm just gonna smile and nod at that point, like, yeah, totally,
yes.
But like when we're talking about just like, I think there's I think it's somewhat different if you go like, well, I understand the criticism, but I like it anyway, or the opposite, where it's like I understand why it's great, but I don't really like it anyway. I think that's a bit different, you know? And that's kind of what Dark Souls is to me. Although, I guess to an extent I do like it, but I don't love it, I guess. I recognize its greatness, though. Anyway, 97 for you, Ennis.
And now you can put GeForce in there. Coming in with another kind of a nostalgia pick. I am honestly just so shocked how... Wait, this isn't the PS3 version. I played the PS2 one.
Oh, wow. Basically, there's so many of these.
Yeah. It's not... It's a licensed game. Another where I'm like shocked how good this licensed game actually is and how it works. It works. It can be very fun to a kid. It can be challenging as well to it, because it requires you to...
and it's... No, I hate WebP. I hate this thing. This stupid thing. Why is it made? Anyway, continue.
And it can be challenging at times too for somebody. So like I said, it's like if you somehow ended up back in time, I would recommend playing this game for giving this game to a kiddo, and he would enjoy it too. Even though what the hell is the plot, man? Kafia's fucking secret agent forces fighting your toaster. What?
Man, it's been so long since I watched the movie. I don't remember anything of it. It's probably like a fever dream.
It really is one of those weird games. But if you forget the skins, let's put it like this: if you take out the skins, it's still very interesting and good game. Good game.
Alright, the next one might surprise some.
What?
It's a pretty normie pick after all. It's one of the most normiest.
It's like FIFA.
And it's like, listen, you can't go too far. No, it's the Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 4.
Oh, so yeah, that is really normie.
It is really normie, but I haven't played any of the Batman games, which is probably like I might put that one over Spider-Man if I had played them. I can't say because I haven't played them. I only know about them, right? But I was always a Spider-Man fan, so I would play Spider-Man at some point. And while Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Black Teen are like they are something, I don't feel like touching them, to be honest.
Crime against humanity, but some people would say otherwise.
I don't know. Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 though is still a fantastic game. I do dislike how the remastered had like changed the fucking character model of the main character to make him look like Tom Holland, which is stupid. Absolutely dumb. But aside from that, like the game is very good. Like it's a perfect Spider-Man game. The way you web sling feels very satisfying. The game looks really good. The soundtrack is good, but it's just like, it's what you expect. Like, the soundtrack is just from a Spider-Man movie, it works, but it's just not something you listen to in the background. It's like typical Hollywood score, basically, but it just works for this game, so that's fine. The story is interesting. Like, you know, it's very funny how it went from a really good and interesting story to a very drab character assassination story. But yeah, I do genuinely think it's a fantastic game still. And pretty easy to pick up and play. There are many difficulty options, and there's many ways to play the game with all the different upgrades you can get. Though I start to wonder why there's even a fucking level tree, like a fucking skill tree. When it says skill tree, you're gonna fill it up anyway. So why is it even there? I think it's such a small skill tree too that it doesn't matter. I think they could have done without it, to be honest. And I do think the gameplay at some point gets a bit repetitive, especially when you have to do when you try to do like the crime so you can 100% each district. I felt it's unnecessary at some point because they kind of become the same. But other than that, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of different costumes that are really nice and as well, a lot of neat references and funny like Easter eggs. You know, just overall very competent game.
Yeah, it's a thing where you just turn around and like you turn around to the Romanian and you're like, fuck, he's right again. He's fucking right again. He has mentioned it so many times that the newer games all have the shitty skill tree that you just cap out every time anyway.
Yes, the skill trees barely matter in a lot of these like non-RPGs. I don't know why they have RPG elements when they're, you know, not RPGs.
You know how great The Witcher 3 is when you have this. When you level up, but you have only so many skill slots to put your the stuff you get from the skill tree in there.
Yeah.
You can only upgrade so many of them before you hit the level cap.
Yeah, it's silly. Like, I don't see the point. Just give me like a linear progression at that point, you know? It's more like, oh, what are you gonna do first? It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just pick whatever I like, but it's so small that even that isn't fun, you know?
Yes.
Anyway, your 91th game. 98th game.
91?
91, I'm so tired, sorry. 98th game.
So yeah, for the 98th game, fuck, I'm combining again another 2 games. Mainly because one of them I never actually got to fully play. It's gonna be Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and also Ace Attorney Investigation. I think it's better to put Investigations in here.
Right.
That's working. So the reason as to why I will put Investigation in there, because I don't know if anybody actually played this. Probably did, right? Because it has a collection as well now out.
Yeah.
But it's my introduction obviously has been with the first Ace Attorney game.
So Phoenix Wright and Investigations?
Yeah, let's do it like this. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney and then / Investigations. Whereas with Phoenix Wright, that's where the whole series started, and that's where I started like playing the first game, basically with, and I did like it. But there was a character that was introduced in that, Miles, was it Edgeworth?
Yeah.
I don't remember the full name. Miles Edgeworth.
Edgeworth.
And this, I think that what for pun is that one actually? Well, anyway, the man is with that being great, I was like, yeah, I like actually Miles's character to an extent, so I was like willing to to play this one. I saw that Ron May background from HSR, Jess.
What it is?
Yeah, that's from HSR. That's Ron May, best woman.
Nice, good to know.
Yeah, and it is a very interesting game where you play as a prosecutor. You still have to do some investigating and all that. The only reason why I could never beat it because I want to emulate it, and for some reason the emulators wouldn't be able to handle, or maybe it's the emulation port, couldn't just do a very good job of the 3D model. I had to then investigate. Oh lord!
It couldn't handle the amazingness that was the investigating that Ennis had to do.
I know, right? But I found it very interesting in its concept, and I wanted to, and you know, it's a fun game. But both of them are very fun games in that sense. That end. With collecting the evidence, finding the evidence, and just trying to solve the puzzle. That I was like, yeah, you know, at the very least, I will going to play Phoenix Wright 2 and 3 as well.
You know, I think my next game will probably be replaced by Wonder of Blood, but I think I'm gonna put Bloodlines on there actually. I just played it. Like, so it's recency bias, right? I just played it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a very solid game. Like, I have issues with it, especially with it just being old. Like, it limited continues in a Castlevania game. Are you fucking crazy? I don't know if the collector's edition did it better, by the way. I don't know if they did anything with that. But you should probably get the collector's edition when you can, because, you know, but it goes on sale frequently, so you'll be fine. But I think Bloodlines, visually, maybe this will be replaced with Wonder of Blood after I play that one, but it just visually is a very pretty looking game, and they upped the gruesome part as well, which I just think works perfectly for this franchise as well. Yeah, all the gore effects and everything in this game is impressive. The soundtrack is nice, but the audio quality of the Genesis is pretty bad here in this game. I know I can't help but notice, but there's a lot of like different interesting designs. The you traveling all across Europe gives you some different like aesthetics for each stage as well. And I think I like Alec Lacard, actually, the spear guy. He's actually very fun to play as, though, and it's the one playing as that one for our next stream. I did it because, Ennis, I did it because I like you, because this guy has a super jump, so you can maybe, like, ignore some platforming.
Thank you.
But, you know, like, the game has an issue with, compared to Castlevania 4, where they go back to the stiffer jump. And while that can be a negative, I do think the level design is pretty spacious to the point where you're barely gonna fall off or get knocked back from knockback. So it's not that big of an issue. Really, the only problem I had with the game, besides that you need to play the game normally to do expert mode so you can get the true ending. The problem really is just the limited continues. Like, I think lives already are, like, outdated nowadays. Like, it's just there to, like, pad out the game. But limited continues, like, that's stupid. It's already a difficult game. Just give me lives. Or just don't even give me lives. Just let me do that. Just give me a checkpoint to be done with it, you know? Yeah, just a solid game. Well,
Leave it.
99, that is. Okay.
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3? Oh, that's interesting. I'll come back.
And Knuckles.
I'll come back to that. Hold on. No, yeah.
I'll probably say actually Sonic Mania more. I'm putting Sonic 3 in there for more of an like its emotional reason to it, because it's how I started.
Yeah.
How I was introduced to it, at the very least, the Sonic games, more or less, with the Sega Sonic collection. Holy shit, that fucking collection is amazing on the PS2.
That's good. You know, there are two collections, and both of them are really good.
And it's really great because of how many games you have, but then you realize that most of the games are shit.
Yes. I should know. I played all of them on live stream. I marathoned through all of them. It was suffering. No. You know, Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic 2 made me cry because I was finally playing a good game, and it's not even a joke. I'm not even joking. I barely got any sleep, right? So I was sleep deprived, and I just, felt like shit. I was very tired. Then I started playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I just gained so much energy. It was crazy.
Yeah. When it comes to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, young me has never beaten it, and old me has never bothered to touch it for some reason. But I know it's a solid game. I do see some really good things in it. I do like the fact that you had at least 3 characters to play with, to choose from. The save files, being able to start from a check. That happens, right? Even if you get a game over, you start where you at the last stage you were, right? Or
yes.
do you not get that?
Oh yeah, you get that.
Which is not a great thing. It's just that I was a complete garbage player and probably didn't have a memory card too.
So, and I got a tip for you, right? If you want to get better at platformers, the moment you get better at 2D Sonic games, you get better at platformers. I speak of experience. I'm not even joking.
All right.
Nah, genuinely, genuinely, it's because I got better at these games that I got better at gaming in general, actually.
I guess Sonic is really the peak in platforming, if anything goes.
Yeah, it's because of the precision, like the momentum and
the speed.
Speed, momentum.
Yeah, one of the things that I do kind of like about Sonic in that sense is the speed, which is why I prefer it sometimes. Why I prefer Metroidvanias, for example, over most platformers. It's just the speed of it all.
The only reason I put Mario games high is because of high quality, but otherwise I prefer Sonic games because I just like the gameplay.
Yeah.
I just think Sonic is cooler, but that's besides the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. It's a really great. It's you play this one, you play these few good games, and then after you grow old, you realize, holy shit, most of Sonic's games were fucking garbage into Sonic Adventure.
They were.
And then more came out.
They were
and then more shit came out.
At first it was just the spin-offs that were shit, but now the main games had some issues. So I guess I'm gonna throw a curveball at the end. I just remembered this old childhood game and I unlocked core memories. I just, at some point Dennis, we should play this game as well. It's called Platypus. I'm gonna probably put the PSP cover on there because that would be easier. Yeah, there you go, that's better. It's just a really fun shooter that you can play with a friend. I love the kind of clay-like graphics as well. Very unique art style to the game. The concept is simple, right? Like aliens invade, you're shooting them down, There's nothing crazy to it, right? But, you got to... Mm-hmm. It's just, what you expect from a shooter, but you can play it with a friend, and it's just very fun to do. And with interesting graphics, and I really like how you can, they're big ships and shit, and they slowly get damaged over time, and you can really just feel the amount of damage these things are having. You can fuck them up. It's great. It really looks nice. I really like that. But I put it in there for nostalgia as well, of course. I just don't understand the name. Why is it called this? What does this have to do with a platypus?
No clue. I can't help you with that one, Chief.
Well, you haven't played this game, so that would make sense, right?
Of course not.
We should play it at some point, though. Well, the last pick. Big Titty Simulator.
I was almost thinking of putting Azure Lane here. But I wasn't.
Genshin Impact.
The moment I had seen it
Final
somewhere, just
Fantasy
a moment.
8.
Yeah. I was almost thinking of putting Final Fantasy 2 here, actually.
Okay, I would murder you personally for that one, to be honest.
I think let's put it on both on the same spot for me. It's Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear.
That's a good
Expert.
Should I just do Guilty Gear Exert?
Yeah, just go Expert, but you can put Blaze Blue in the text next to it.
But Ennis, why not Strive?
Honestly, after looking a bit more into it, I can understand to an extent what they meant, right? But I think Destroy was a terrible fucking wording.
Yeah.
That really does make me think, nah. You use words for a reason. Destroy shouldn't be that word.
And the amount of times they put character design, they tone down character designs is crazy.
Yeah. So for the reason as to why, when it comes to the two Arc System games, I think I'll start off with Blaze Blue being probably the first Arc System fighting game I played, actually. And it all began because I, for some reason, got... It began with Mega Dimension Neptunia having its theme that was very similar to, I believe...
Yeah, it was around
Guilty Gear.
It was similar to Guilty Gear, yeah.
And then some fucking person on the comments mentioned the Blaze Blue team, thinking that one sounds similar to. I listened to them man, this sounds amazing, but it has nothing makes it similar to it, right? Oh. And that moment was for me where Blaze Blue soundtrack was so good. I was like, yeah, I have to check out the story, the lore. I see that there's an anime. I watched the CDS anime and ended up playing the game. And it's a very, it's a visual novel game with fighting in it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's pretty funny. And with different routes, different endings. I do miss music in those cutscenes, but they were funny. They were nice in making characters and adding some lore to it, which is how I got introduced. Expert I mainly played, and both, by the way, are pretty fun in their own rights, even if it's only fighting as NPCs. In the end, the reason why I would have played Expert is because I found Strife's soundtrack to be really good and I wanted to play something, but Strife was too pricey. So I didn't want to touch it. And now I don't want to touch it ever fucking again. No, not even think about touching it ever again. Though, the games are very fun, very solid in that sense. And now the fighting thing is dead. So the best chance of getting people to play is find some Discord server somewhere on the internet.
Actually, I think Search had made like a fucking renaissance because people started to get a distaste for fucking Strife.
Yeah.
Like my little sister actually plays Search. She fucking hates anime, by the way. She plays Search though. In fact, that's how her Discord Discord fucking descriptions is just her fucking memeing, like making fucking Search memes.
Alrighty.
Fuck me.
It's great.
It's funny though.
Anyway, as my 101 pick, I'll put Azure Lane in there.
If we're gonna go that far, my 101 pick is Battle Lord.
I don't remember what Battle Lord was again.
It's a very different type of strategy game. It's a real-time strategy game. It's not an RPG. It's a point-and-click strategy game, I guess you could. Where you can, if I show you it, you probably understand what I mean.
We'll probably look it up.
But it doesn't matter which game. I like most Command and Conquer games.
All right.
This is
the main reason.
This is a childhood pick for my. Also, this was a time where they had sexy women. Not anymore.
I know, right?
I like Red Alert because the story is also about what would happen if you went back in time and killed Hitler and the communists took over. Now you have to kill the communists.
Base.
Actually, it's where this scene comes in up.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason why I put the Zerlin in is purely for eye candy, as I've never actually beaten the game. Right, that's fun.
To the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
That's
Alright.
I love the this is a game that I played as a 5-year-old, which is not something you would expect because it's highly tactical. I sucked at it, of course, because I was 5 years old. Actually, at some point I was like 9 years old and I played it just fine. So I don't know.
And as 5-year-old, you learned the importance of capitalism.
Yes. I played. My dad is a big fan, right, of the Command and Conquer games at the time. So I got this from him basically. And
I see.
I especially the first game I have the most nostalgia for, but I really like the pixel graphics. Honestly, I feel like despite how detailed the other games are with their graphics, I just love the retro style graphics. Even as a child, I thought it was. I just loved how it looked. I loved how the earth gets scorched when you do like lightning bolt attacks or fire or like fucking big explosions. I loved seeing people die in blood. I love people getting. My favorite thing was just fucking putting all these lamps down that are like defensive, stationaries. Where if someone walks nearby, they get zapped with electricity, and you can just see the skeleton as they like scream in horror. I love it. And I love that game. They're really fun games, and you can just do something crazy where on the map you can just like have 8 armies, and you can have an 8-way war, which is just ridiculous. The only problem I had with Red Alert is that I still don't understand, and maybe one day I'll figure it out if I actually start playing the games again. What I never understood is how my enemy just already has nukes. Like I'm like halfway through the path towards the nuke, and they already have it and they're about to launch it at me. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? About to fucking nuke me. Yeah, it's a childhood pick.
Yes.
Well, that was it, right? Unless you wanna name something.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. Yeah. That's it. There is at least one game I would like to at some point play with you. It's a Nickelodeon Unite.
Alright, yeah, that's fair.
It's like, I think you know what Nickelodeon Unite was.
I know what it is, but I never got the chance to play it.
But for the people that don't know, it's a game where you get SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, and Timmy Turner. The characters just come together and fight their enemies in different maps. It's a fun game, but I never got to beat it.
Well, we'll beat it together at some point.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, I think this it's funny. It's funny. Like this game, this list at the end of the day. There's 2 reasons why I made it. At first, I thought it would be a fun thought exercise, and a good way for us both to know each other better, and like for other people to know our taste well. And sometimes I think that by doing this, you know, you kind of start like reflecting and thinking of like yourself, like, oh yeah, I guess I like these things, huh? Wow, it's crazy. And it's plays a lot of roguelikes.
Yeah, it happened specifically like these last few years that I bought a lot more roguelike games, specifically deck builders. I noticed.
Yes.
But then again, I play Yu-Gi-Oh, so what do you expect?
I also did this because, you know, there's so many people that, like, will criticize on best 100 lists that game journalists put out, and they're not exactly wrong, because game journalists, man. But I thought, you know, instead of, like, bitching about it, not knowing if the criticism is fair, but sometimes I see things like, oh, Mario Kart 8 doesn't deserve to be on any top 100 list. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why not? Like, it's still a very fine game, you know, it's a normie game, sure, but you don't put the game on the top 100 list just because the game, whether or not the game is special. It's also like, does the game do something that people would like, and like, does it do it the best way? And like, Mario Kart 8 is probably one of the best kart racings out there, right? Like, you could probably put Crash Karting on there, Crash Bandicoot Kart Racing on there as well, probably. Mm-hmm. But you know, you still have selective tastes and stuff. But I think it's better to just make your own list at the end of the day, you know? Because you are the one that best knows what taste you have and what games you want to put on the list. Whether it's a top 100 best list or top 100 favorite list, at the end of the day, you know best what you want on the list.
I think what is more beneficial in this 100 games list, in what people seem to, is at this point, it's better off not to think of them as well as the best game list, but more of like, what games would you recommend to people, right? Is maybe how people should have the perspective on it at this point.
Yeah, this one is more especially a favorites list, because, you know, you have nostalgia picks and memory picks, stuff like that, and that's what makes this list, like, you know, biased but really fun. But I would never really enjoy making a top 100 best games list, because it's impossible. Every game does something different, and every game has something different to offer to other people. Like, it's not even so much of a matter of subjectivity. It's a matter of, like, well, how are you gonna compare Sekiro to Forza Horizon 5? You can't. They're completely different games that do completely different things.
Yes. And it's in that sense, it's absolutely why I think it's more important that people don't. You know, you can sit on IGN all you want at this point,
and they deserve it to be
but
fair,
it's like,
but it doesn't matter.
To an extent, yes. But in the case of like making this list, I really think it's more important sharing the games you played than and giving it the attention you think it deserves. And if IGN says that for some reason Forspoken deserves the attention it does, go fuck yourself. But all right, fuck it.
You have no idea how many top 100 lists would have like Last of Us 2, and I think no.
I know, right?
I think that game deserves. I think the game should be removed from history, to be honest.
But it's still there because, you know, people are people and they're gonna have their weird opinions. So let's put it like that.
I'll one day make a video about it. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with the list we've made. You know, I still put in some games that aren't all just RPGs and platformers. And I think, yeah. I think I have some pretty popular ones, but also have some, you know, lesser known ones as well.
I ended up, you know, I noticed that the last few years I did spend a lot more time going into the more niche, not niches in the genres, more niches in games that are made by maybe indies or other people, which is where Loop Hero comes in, where Astray or Slay the Spire comes in. Where I think Slay the Spire is probably more popular than Astrea, but I feel, or we are about to die.
Yeah.
Though, you know, I started enjoying that because I was like, you know, these people are trying their best to get some ideas out on the table, and I wouldn't mind giving them some attention.
There's also something
just so I could play them.
Yeah. There's also some other things that there are some games, right, that I like pretty close to some other games, like Kingdom Hearts 2, for example. I would love Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 1 as well, and I might play them over some of other games on this list, but, you know, I think about the list as well. I think, well, if I want to play Kingdom Hearts, I already have Kingdom Hearts 2, so, you know, like, it's just that these games give me all different experiences too, which is why, you know, you sometimes put different games higher on the list, because, well, they are different, and that's what makes them, you know, worthy of the list, rather than, otherwise I just put the same games over and over again of the same franchise, when in reality, you know, you need to have variety. Otherwise it's not fun anymore.
You know, no matter how much I like Dark Souls a lot, right? There's a reason why I liked Neo, why I liked Strangers of Paradise, or why I liked, what was the other game again? Code Vein a lot. Or the same with Monster Hunter, but I still had God Eater in there because those games, even though they're similar, still offer something different to the player. One is more the others are more story driven, others are more grindy, and I'm looking at you, Neo. And Strangers of Paradise. There is something there that even if they're similar, they still offer something different to it, which you may like or don't like at all. It's why I ended up like trying out old ass games like Diablo 1, but shocked Jesse for some reason.
Because when everyone talks about Diablo, it's usually the second game.
Yeah, and it's. I wanted to try out the very first game, and I understand I like it.
You know,
it's a lot more dark.
I've heard it is a pretty solid game overall. It's just, you know, the second one is just better.
Yeah, it is more a start of something where you're more a weak person trying to traverse through hell than being the heroes that will slay the demon. Which is two.
There are a lot of games that deserve like love, and you know, there's plenty of games outside of the top 100 list that we love as well, and we want to, like, you know, give attention to as well, because they all do something unique or something that you find memorable too. But the list is what it is. We can only have 100 games on there, and we did. I feel like we should be pretty proud of that, because holy shit, it took a while.
Yeah. Yes, could you also pull up Shrek 3, the game's the developer who made this? Just zoom out the picture.
Oh, but the picture's
that
so
should
low
just do
quality,
it.
though.
Don't worry about it. Go a bit up. I want to just know who made it. Activision.
Of course.
How the fuck did Activision make such a solid game, like licensed game?
Okay, and it's might shock you, but Activision used to be a good company.
Can you also zoom out GeForce for a moment just to see? Because again, it's another solid, well done, solid game. Hey, was it just Disney? No fucking way.
Nah, I don't know. I think you have to. I don't know. Is it good? I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
A really good wall picture of the one made up.
I'm gonna show you one wallpaper because I think you'll love it. Game developer. Who's the game developer for this one? Oh, just
published by. It is.
This is no, the developer.
It is Disney.
The developer is Eurocom. Actually, it's the name of the developer.
Yeah, well, let's check what else Eurocom has made.
Magician. Oh fuck! They go back. They go back quite a while. Well, they made a plenty of like. They made
Earthworm Jim. Right, is that what the game? No, that's a different game.
No, that is Earthworm Jim. Holy shit! They did make that game. What the fuck? They co-developed it. But, oh, that's still pretty impressive though. Mortal Kombat 3 on the Saturn. Okay, it's the Saturn first specifically. Then I wonder. They ported the game probably. Duke.
Oh, developed Duke.
My God. Mortal Kombat 4. Damn, they did a lot. Okay, yeah, they did a lot. It would seem they have done a lot.
They did a lot of licensed games if you look at it like this. Yeah, license only again, Mummy.
Yeah.
That's Basic Extraction, co-developed with Ewu.
Damn.
And I guess they died afterwards. 2012. Rest in peace. You even tried to break out Spider-Man 4 on the Wii. How would they do that?
Wait, Spider-Man 4 on the Wii?
Yeah, unreleased.
No, this is. Wait, there's the.
Yeah, they're unreleased.
There's the...
Exactly, because they didn't make it.
And the movie's cancelled, so the game was cancelled too. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that will be it for today. Next time, tomorrow we're doing the. It's called the Castlevania Bloodlines race, but it's not really a race. It's only a race in name. I've practiced already. I don't know if Ennis is gonna practice for the little time. Yes, the game's only 2 hours long to be fair, so I don't need to do much. I'm gonna talk a bit more.
I'm going to die, but don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I'll have to talk to Ennis too or something about it, but I don't need to do that on stream. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.